Have you ever said yes to a project and instantly regretted it? Maybe it looked good on paper, a big budget, a dream client, and a high profile opportunity. But after the revisions, the late night emails, endless scope creep, you realize it's actually draining your time, your energy, and your income. Well, see, here's the thing most people never talk about, and it's not about money, it's about fear. Fear that if you say no to a project, nothing else will come. Fear that if you're asking for too much, and fear of disappointing someone or even being difficult to some clients. Later in this video, I'm going to show you why those fears are quietly keeping you broke and how saying no the right way can bring better clients, better projects, and more profit than you can ever imagine. Stick around because this is one of the most important overlooked truths in any career or business, and it might just change the way you choose every opportunity moving forward. See, many freelancers dream of landing a $15,000 project. Yet, quietly and rarely talked about, some freelancers are turning those big projects down. And to someone on the outside, that sounds absolutely insane, right? Who says no to $15,000? Who walks away from that big of an opportunity? But here's the uncomfortable truth. Most freelancers only learn the hard way. And that's that some projects just don't pay well. They extract value. And most freelancers don't have an income problem, they have a fear problem. Fear is what convinces talented people to say yes to projects they already know are bad. Fear is what fills calendars with work that looks impressive on paper, but quietly drains your time, energy, and your profit. Across the freelance world, the same pattern shows up again and again. Freelancers say yes far too fast. A $500 logo with unlimited revisions? Yes. A $2,000 website that ends up taking 70 or even 80 hours? Boom. Yes. And a last minute project with vague instructions, chaotic communication, and impossible deadlines? Sure. Why not? And they say yes, not because the project is good, but because saying no just feels terrifying. And that fear almost always comes from the same three places. Number one is the fear of not getting another client. This is the most common fear, yet the most dangerous one. It sounds like this in your head. What if I turn this down and nothing else comes in? What if this is a last opportunity for weeks and weeks on end? What if my inbox goes quiet? So instead of evaluating the work logically, freelancers make decisions emotionally. They accept work as a form of insurance, not because the project is profitable, but because it feels safer than uncertainty. Here's the problem. Fear-based yeses teach your brain that survival depends on accepting every single project. And once that pattern forms, freelancers stop choosing projects and they start reacting to them. They stop asking, is this priced correctly? Is the scope even realistic? Is this client aligned with how I want to work? And they start asking only one singular question. What if nothing else comes? But here's what really is talked about. Accepting bad projects actually increases the risk of not getting better clients. Why? Because terrible projects consume your time, energy, attention, and your creative capacity. They leave no space for marketing, outreach, your portfolio improvement, referrals, tasks that are actually a return of investment, or higher quality conversions. So the fear becomes self-fulfilling. You accept low quality work because you're afraid of not getting more work. And then you're too busy doing low quality work to attract better clients. That's how some freelancers get stuck. And the second fear is the fear of charging what you're actually worth. I know that sounds kind of odd, and this fear is actually quieter, but that's what makes it even more damaging. You see, most freelancers, they actually know they're already undercharging. They feel it every time they rush a deadline, they handle excessive revisions, answer messages late at night, or absorb scope creep without compensation. But raising prices feels risky. What if they think I'm too expensive? What if I say no? What if they leave? Is all the questions they start asking. So instead of charging based on value, impact, or effort, freelancers charge based on what feels safe, right? They price to avoid rejection, not to build profit. And here's the trap. Low pricing doesn't remove fear, it actually creates more of it. When prices are low, you don't need more clients to survive. Each client matters too much. Losing one feels catastrophic, and boundaries feel impossible to reinforce. That's why underpaid freelancers tolerate things they shouldn't, like constant revisions, vague directions, delayed payments, scope creep, emotional labor, because when one client represents survival, you can't afford to upset them. And ironically, the fear of raising prices keeps freelancers stuck in the very situation they're afraid of. And when prices finally do increase, something interesting happens. You see, when that happens, the wrong clients disappear, but the right ones take you more seriously. Higher prices don't repel good ones, they repel the misaligned ones. And then the third and final fear is a fear of disappointing people or sounding difficult to them. This fear is especially common among freelancers who are empathetic, maybe they're people pleasers, they like to avoid conflict, or are just new to business ownership. They don't want to be seen as difficult, demanding, or that they're inflexible, or that they're hard to work with. So they avoid the pushback. And they say yes to all this, not because they agree, but because they don't want the discomfort of saying no. See, the problem is this. Every time you avoid a difficult conversation, you pay it later with time, stress, and lost income. Saying yes feels polite in the moment, but it quietly teaches clients that your boundaries are flexible or even non-existent. And over time, freelancers confuse being easy to work with being easy to take advantage of. Here's the truth most freelancers don't hear early enough. Professional boundaries don't make clients leave. Lack of boundaries, that's what attracts the wrong ones. Clients who actually respect you, they expect structure. Clients who don't respect you, they resist it. And see, when you actually put it down on paper and do the math, eventually, many freelancers reach a breaking point. They stop looking at revenue and start calculating real profit. They factor in things like actual hours worked, the revisions, admin time, the communications, the software they use, taxes, context switching, emotional exhaustion, and then the numbers actually start to become shocking. You see, that $2,000 website project, once everything is counted, it often pays $3 to $5 an hour. And that $500 logo, the revisions and overhead, after all of that, it may actually lose you money. You're not even cutting even at that point. And see, that's the moment where everything just clicks. Some projects aren't cheap. They are literally financial traps. They look good up front. They feel safe. They even may feel like you're actually running a business correctly, but they quietly destroy leverage and growth. Now, let's see what happens when freelancers stop accepting work out of fear. When they stop doing that and begin rejecting low profit or even negative profit projects, something starts to happen. Their calendars clear, and once it clears, better clients start showing up. Clients who, as we previously talked about, respect boundaries, pay on time, value expertise, they trust the process, they accept professional pricing, they don't demand endless revisions. These type of clients often pay 3 to 4 times more for the same work, not because the freelancers suddenly got lucky, but because they stopped filling their schedule with fear-based yeses. You see, many freelancers go from 60 to 70 hours a week to 30 to 35 hour weeks if they want to, and earn more than before. Because profit isn't about how much you do for the work, it's about which work you allow in. And see, this is a truth most freelancers have to accept. Every yes to a terrible project is a no to a good one. I always keep in mind this quote: some will, some won't. So what? Someone's waiting. And every time acceptance is made out of fear, that blocks a better opportunity. Fear fills your calendar. Profit, that's what clears it. So the real question isn't, should I accept this project? It's, am I saying yes because this is a good opportunity, or because I'm afraid of what happens if I say no. Because the longer you accept work out of fear, the longer you let the fear control your income. And the only way out is choosing better projects before you feel ready. So you have to ask yourself, how many terrible projects will you keep accepting before you realize they're the very thing keeping you broke? But that's all for this one. And I did just want to say that you're not alone in this, even when it feels like it. So go ahead and take what helps, ignore what doesn't, and keep moving forward. I'll be right here.